I think my good friend is falling for a pathological liar. What do you think? I, female 25, am worried about my friend who seems to have fallen for a guy who comes up with the wildest stories. Or maybe I'm wrong. I need a second opinion. The first time I saw the guy was in a club in our city. He was flirting with my friend and they got along well. I talked to him briefly. He seemed funny and intelligent. He's not the type my friend would usually go for, but he seemed nice enough. They started texting and going out. They went to that same club together, to bars and out to eat. They seemed to have hit it off and were getting closer. He invited her to his house at some point. He claims that he has built the house himself almost entirely and has lots of money too. Without being asked to do so, he showed my friend how much money he had on his card at the ATM. Then, a few weeks after they start seeing each other, he drops the bomb. Apparently, he has a brain tumor. Doctors recently detected it. He doesn't give many details, just that the 3 different doctors that he allegedly visited in the course of 2 weeks all said that he had no chance and that if they were to operate on him, he'd either die or end up in a wheelchair. He starts telling my friend he's gonna leave the country in a few days. He tells her he doesn't want to quit his job and he doesn't want to tell his parents. Apparently, he did quit his job afterward but still has to do a few things for his boss now and then. Apparently, he still hasn't told his parents. First, he's all like, oh, he's so glad she's there for him and he doesn't want to be a burden. My friend is there for him, talks to him and listens. Then, fast forward, he suddenly wants to break contact off. He cannot live with the guilt and he can't live with her knowing about the cancer. He doesn't break the contact off. He disappears for multiple days, then reappears and asks if they want to smoke. When they see each other, he is doing very, very bad. In contrast to how he had been 2 weeks prior, he is now hurting and having pains and nausea and whatnot. Then the next bombshell comes. He tells my friend that his best friend, female 28, is in town due to work. He decides to tell that best friend about his tumor and apparently she goes nuts. He claims she is a lesbian and that my friend has nothing to worry about. There's more to this best friend. He went to the hospital for a day and didn't want to be bothered. His best friend drove around in a taxi for 2 hours, calling all hospitals around trying to find him. He tells my friend his best friend uses lotion on him to help him. She insists on moving in with him while she is in town. She does move in. He doesn't tell her about my friend because he knows she'd be bothered to know he's with someone else and not resting. He tells my friend he said my friend's name in his sleep multiple times and his best friend got curious and asked him about it. Then, the best friend apparently says she's been in love with him for a year and that she's not as lesbian as she claimed. Fast forward again, last week he tells my friend that actually he did have a thing with this best friend when they were 16. He tells her more about her. She's blonde, skinny Italian. Apparently, right after she told him, he kicked the best friend out, changed his locks and said he doesn't want anything to do with her. Then, 2 days ago my friend talks to him and he snaps. He tells her that she is exactly like his best friend and that he can't have his goddamn peace or something like that. Still, he wants them to meet up, and he's all giddy when they did yesterday. My friend claims that she believes everything he says and that he might just be confused. I call bullshit. I don't know whether he's lying about the cancer. But even if it's true, this whole best friend story sounds so damn fabricated. It's honestly prime entertainment anytime she tells me they met up. I told her about my doubts and she says she gets it, but she's just not sure. Has anyone ever met a pathological liar who did something similar? Or just give me your opinion. I'm really curious about what others think of this. It's amazing how some people can lie about their own health and manipulate those around them. If he is claiming to have a serious illness but isn't undergoing any treatment, that's a huge red flag. Suggesting she go to the doctor with him might expose his lies, but he'll likely have an excuse ready. Be prepared to support her when it all unravels, because lying about something like this will catch up to him eventually. Friend calls me cruel and a betrayal for wanting to attend, show she no longer chooses to attend. A while back I saw an advertisement for a specific stage play featuring a well-known celebrity. I was very interested and wanted to attend with my fiancée. I asked my roommate if she would like to join us since it seemed like something she would also be very interested in. She agreed, but asked me to hold off on purchasing the tickets due to other commitments we had, so I waited to buy the tickets together. One morning, she informed me that she no longer wanted to go to the stage play due to financial concerns. I asked her if it was okay for me to still attend. She responded by saying, "You understand that that's cruel, right?" This caught me off guard and I responded by saying, "I understand your disappointment, but if you see it as a betrayal then I won't go." She then said she didn't want to discuss it further at that moment, since we were about to leave for a trip and needed to figure out why she felt betrayed. I personally don't view it as a betrayal at all. We typically do activities as a group, so I understand there may be some fear of missing out, FOMO, involved as well. It feels like she's saying if I can't go, then no one can, which doesn't seem fair. I'm usually the one making plans as well, as no one else does or actively offers suggestions. I still want to go to the show. I avoid confrontation, so I suggested to my fiancé that we have a private date in NYC and attend the show secretly. However, he advised me to talk to my roommate about it, and I know he's right. But how should I approach this conversation? What should I say? Confrontation gives me anxiety, a fast heartbeat, and I tend to back down even when I try to stand up for myself. TL Dog, my friend and roommate is calling me cruel and labeling my desire to attend a show that she no longer wants to go to as a betrayal. You don't have to be sorry for living your life, and you don't need to apologize for making plans with your fiancé. Her behavior is classic bullying, and it's all because you can afford to go to an event she can't. For what it's worth, I don't think you need to have a talk with your roommate. She doesn't need an explanation, and you don't need her approval or blessing. Just go to the event and prioritize your relationship with your fiancé. If she has an issue with that, then it's on her for being petty and manipulative. I have found out that my partner has been cheating on me for our entire 3.5-year relationship. Looking for advice, what do I do next? I have been with my boyfriend for 3.5 years. We have had a very happy relationship, spending weekends together, taking trips, meeting each other's families, and planning our future together. Last week, we were on holiday. After a lovely day out exploring, I noticed a significant change in his behavior, being glued to his phone, actively avoiding me seeing his screen, talking on his phone for over 2 hours with a friend about a business idea, and completely ignoring me when I was asking him to come to bed, attempting to get intimate. This was a huge change in behavior, and something did not feel right. On our return home, the nagging and gnawing feeling was still there. While he was asleep next to me, I made the decision to look at his phone. This is not something I have ever done before, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something was really wrong. What I found while lying in bed with him shook me to my absolute core. I found a list of all the women he had been cheating on me with for the entire duration of our 3.5-year relationship. There was a list of over 70 names, accompanied by scores out of 10, whether he would be intimate with them again, and explicit details about what he did or didn't like about their anatomy, what they did for him. I then completely fell down the rabbit hole and found the messages, arranging meetups, complimenting their bodies, and discussions about what they had been up to. I took photos of the list so I had the evidence and couldn't convince myself this wasn't happening. In the morning, I played it cool, like nothing was the matter, and managed to get all my stuff out of his house without arousing suspicion. I arranged for my dad to collect me as I don't drive and immediately told him everything. My dad stayed with me while I made the phone call to break up with him in case he took it really badly. I told him that we needed to break up and that I knew exactly what he had been up to. Almost immediately, he crumbled, admitting everything, begging for my forgiveness, and telling me that he loves me. I shot this down, saying that these are not the actions of a person in love, and if he was truly sorry, he would have admitted what he was doing long ago, not when he was caught. He then realized that I probably had evidence of what he had been up to. I openly admitted that I took photos of the list. At this point, he was fully hysterical, begging me not to post it or ruin his life. I have no interest in being petty or ruining his life for the sake of it, but have told him that I am going to get tested, and if he has given me anything, I will contact every woman on the list because they have the right to know, and there are huge potential health implications. He has continued to beg me not to ruin his life and made threats to end his life. He is currently blocked on all platforms. I am devastated and angrier than I have ever been. I feel like my whole life and future have been turned upside down. I am at a complete loss about what to do now. I can't fathom how I haven't seen any red flags for so long. Looking for any advice on what I should do now, and some words of encouragement. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You are absolutely doing the right thing by breaking up with him and getting yourself tested. If they act single, you make them single. You'll no doubt take a bit of time for yourself, get your test results, and then you'll move on. My parent wants me to go with them to Mexico for weight loss surgery. Should I say no? The facts. My mom is scheduled to go to Mexico for bariatric surgery this summer. I am a trained certified nursing assistant with medical surgical experience and her daughter. My mom and I have a historically rocky relationship. We would be gone for a month to visit family in the area before surgery and recovery. My mom would pay for everything. Essentially, my mom wants me to come with her to act as a caregiver, a role in which I have done for other family members before without trouble or fuss. The issue is that we've only just started repairing our relationship. From childhood to adulthood until just recently, my mom and I had a very toxic relationship where we would fight and go months at a time without talking to each other. The only way I could remedy this was to cut off every possible point of contention where she might have leverage over me. I took myself off the car insurance, got a new phone plan, bought my own car, and my dad enabled a lot of this behavior. For a long time, I was the family mediator, emotional dumpster therapist, the good kid, and all that stuff. Once I moved out, it got better, but being a broke teenager still meant I had to rely on them heavily for basic things a lot of the time. I'm at a place in my life where I don't rely on her for anything, and it's now on my terms that we get to have a relationship as adults rather than mother-daughter. But the issue is that I'm terrified of something happening between the two of us and being stranded in a foreign country. For the first 2 weeks of the trip, we would be staying with my paternal family's ranch. We would rent our own car and be living in a separate section from the main house. I've met this side of the family, but not since I was 6. And while I do speak Spanish, I don't speak it well. The other half would be the medical resort area. I'm not entirely sure what that would be like, but there would be a period where I would have to be with my mom 24/7 for at least 3 to 5 days while she recovers. She would be in a very vulnerable position, and I don't know how I would react. I love my mom, and she has changed much of her behavior that made it awful to live with her in the first place, but of course hasn't really apologized or anything. I don't think she would hold this trip over me, but the reality is that I don't know what to expect. She has said that she trusts me to take care of her, but I'm going off by at least 20 years of trauma. I want to go to Mexico. I want to visit my family, and I am broke, and this would be a rare opportunity. But I'm scared and would love some advice. It's important to have a backup plan in case things go south, like a hotel to stay at. Your history with your mum and her past behavior might make you more hopeful than realistic. It's crucial to be safe and not take on the role of caregiver if it's out of your comfort zone, especially medically. Many people, even with good family relations, choose not to provide care for family to avoid bias and complications. My partner cheated on me and I found out a year after it happened. How do I forgive them? I just found out that my boyfriend was cheating on me a year ago, a few months after we started dating. Apparently, he was seeing other people and staying on dating apps when we began our relationship. At that time, my gut feeling told me that something was off because he would ignore me or not show up. I broke things off with him because of this, but we got back together the next day. I thought I was crazy and paranoid for breaking up with him. However, this week I learned that my paranoia was justified. I feel bad for going through his things, but finding evidence that proves I wasn't crazy back then makes me feel better. He has changed for the better since then, and I am happy to be with him now. However, I feel betrayed, cheated on, gaslit, and unappreciated. I found some texts from a year ago where he described me as not as attractive as other people he was seeing, compared our sex life to his ex's, described dates with other people while we were official, and said other things that made me feel very miserable and almost ugly now. I brought this up to him now and he apologized a lot, saying he would do whatever I want for me to forgive him and his dishonesty. He backed it up by mentioning he was still in college and had his own trauma. He wants me to give him a chance for a week or a month to prove that he can rebuild my trust. However, I only want to distance myself and surround myself with friends and things I enjoy to rebuild my self-esteem and confidence. Every time I look at him now, I feel unattractive and nothing towards him anymore. I understand that it all happened a year ago, but I am more upset that he never brought it up, even though I asked multiple times if he ever cheated on me. Do you have any advice or similar experiences with forgiving things like this? Does it get better? He not only cheated but also talked about you behind your back. Why choose to stay with someone who writes such nasty things about you? Do yourself a favor and end things. There's definitely something better out there for you if you allow yourself to have it. My partner is upset because they say I'm using my allergy to manipulate them about why I don't want to have sex. How do I deal with this, and if I am, how do I stop? I have a latex allergy and have known about it since I was 14 years old. Foods such as bananas, passion fruit, mangoes, tomatoes, avocados, and kiwi cause me to have itchy lips, a sore throat, and rashes. I also have to watch out for things like balloons, gloves, rubber bands, and the like. When I touch them, I get an itchy rash on my hands that takes a long time to go away and burns. I recently went to the doctor and she told me that I also need to be careful when using certain types of condoms that contain latex. Recently, I was with my boyfriend and I ate at his house. I noticed after I ate, my face felt really hot and other symptoms that I feel when I eat something I'm allergic to. I asked him if there was anything in there that I would be allergic to, and he said he didn't know. It turned out there were tomatoes in it. I was a little upset that he put something in it that he knew I was allergic to, but I told him that it was okay that he forgot, but I needed him to remember next time. But then he said I was just overreacting a bit and I'm not even anaphylactic. I asked him what he meant, and that just because I wasn't, it's still unpleasant to experience. He then said that I acted like I'd die if I had sex with him, but really I was just lying and should just said I didn't love him. Which isn't true. I do love him. I wasn't trying to trick him, I just really didn't want to. He said I was manipulating him, and now he really knows. And that I need to sort out my priorities, and if I don't love him, just to say it. I'm a bit confused. I wasn't trying to trick him about anything. At least I didn't mean to. I feel bad that I did. I don't really know what to do. Something just feels a bit wrong about the situation, and what he did doesn't seem right the way he reacted. It's totally okay to not want to have sex yet or ever, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this guy is a walking red flag. It's super sketchy that he remembered your allergy for a year and then suddenly forgot. If he's willing to potentially put you in danger just to get what he wants, he's not mature enough to be in a relationship. Honestly, it's not going to get better and you deserve someone who respects your boundaries. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.